Greetings, humans, and welcome to chapter 67 of Memoirs of a White Guy. And also greetings to non-humans as well. Sorry, that was a bit discriminatory right from the start. Greetings to pets. If you're I don't know if anyone listens to this with their pets, but or if you work at a pet store and you play this podcast, greetings to the goldfish, the hamsters, the dogs, and whatever the fuck you guys sell. I don't really know like what pet stores. I don't go into pet stores. I mean, I'll just like look at the dogs through the window and like tap the glass and be like, I'm just one of those annoying dickheads. But like, I don't really rate pet stores. Like if I had to get a dog, I'd probably get a rescue dog, or I don't know. I think owning pets is weird. That's a weird start to the podcast, but fuck it. Like, don't you reckon owning pets, like the idea that we are the top of the food chain, like it's, pet stores are just the biggest example of us being at the top of the food chain of all time. Like we literally sell other animals for money and like for profit, and everyone's like, yeah, that's cool. How do you claim ownership over a goldfish? Like it's a living thing. It owns itself, alright? If anything, like he can claim ownership like over like one of his little pebbles or something. Like you can't claim ownership over the goldfish. Like, it's not far off slavery, really. Like, we sell other humans for profit. It's still in some parts of the world, I assume. I mean, I don't do it. I'm not running, like, a human trafficking business out of my backyard. But I'm just saying, I'm sure it happens in, like, some countries. I don't know which countries. I'm going to say Uganda. I reckon they still sell kids there. But, like, the point is that's pretty much just as fucked if you think about as selling like a little dog for money. Like, really, I don't know. I think it's weird how we can claim ownership. The idea of pets is weird. Anyway, what am I talking about? Sorry, that was me just like trying to be like, make a huge point, but then me just going, I don't sell kids. I'm not about that. But that's what happens whenever I try and make like a point about something on this podcast. I just end up saying like something horrible, so then I have to defend myself and be like, no, I definitely don't human traffic little kids. So sorry this podcast is late, guys. It's Wednesday today. The podcast was supposed to come out on Tuesday, and I already recorded a podcast on Sunday. Now, I'll tell you why that didn't come out on Tuesday, okay? Holy shit. So, Sunday night, it's New Year's Eve. Things get, we're kicking things off. I was with Emily and I was like, hey, I'm going to the beach Monday, Tuesday. I just came back from the beach last night. I was like, yeah, I'm going to the beach Monday, Tuesday. So you know what? I'm going to get the podcast done now. So Emily's like, great idea. So then me and Emily sat down. Emily's my girlfriend, if you're new. We sat down to record the podcast, and we recorded a great podcast. It was the New Year's Eve party, the Memoirs of a White Guy New Year's Eve party. We had a couple of drinks going, we were answering your questions. Like, it went for like 50 minutes, just the usual podcast. Recorded the whole thing. And then what happened? Actually, you know what? I'm going to give you guys a chance to think about it, make up your own mind, because I bet you all will be able to guess it, okay? It's a company's fault as to why the podcast didn't come up. I'm not going to be negligent, okay, for this, because I did the podcast, alright, and then I couldn't upload it because the file didn't save. Which company's fault do you think that is, everyone? Alright, do you reckon it'd be, Windows? No, it wouldn't be Windows, because Windows make, computers that work. They've been doing it for years. On you, Bill Gates, you legend. Who else could it have been? Was it Apple? You fucking betcha. Yes, it was Apple. Once again, Steve Jobs. Somehow, the dude's dead, and he ruins my day. Like, every week. Okay? Apple. Okay, yes, I should have probably saved it, but, like, Apple have this thing, right, with all the new programs, where they're just, like, I don't know, it's called autosave, and you can't actually save things. So, really, Apple have tried to be so smart that they're like, hey, don't worry about saving anymore. We got you, fam. You don't have to save. We save your file every time you do a thing. Like, every little click you make, boom, save like that. That's what autosave is supposed to do. Like, every 10 seconds or so, it just makes a new save of the file. And that's a great idea, isn't it? I was like, wow. That's innovation. You know, Apple always pushing the boundaries. The problem with pushing the boundaries is it fucks up all the time, okay? It's happened before. It's happened with videos. Like, I've been almost to the end of editing a video. It's taken me a few hours. And then, like, the computer will just crash. And, like, Final Cut or whatever program I'm using will just crash. And then it will just be like, oh, sorry. And then it goes, do you want to click on the last autosave? I'm like, yeah, thank God for this new feature. And then you click on the last autosave, and it takes you back to like 3 hours before when you're just starting the project. You're supposed to save every second. So me and Emily did this podcast, right? And it was so annoying. It was a good podcast. I got up to the beach and I was like, man, this is the most organized I've ever been in my entire life. Like, everyone's going to be so shocked. The podcast, I had it scheduled. I was going to have it scheduled for 6 a.m. on Tuesday. So even for the early birds who get up and want to bloody listen on the way to work, okay? I was like, man, it's going to be out on Tuesday. This is going to be the earliest the podcast has ever been. All right? So got it off my computer. I was like, oh, I'll just, I'll export it and I'll upload it. Get to the beach, clicked on, like, my GarageBand, and then it's just like, oh, your computer crashed. Do you want to click the autosave thing? I was like, yeah, of course. Thank God for that. And really, I probably could have just saved it manually. But fuck Apple. They have this autosave thing. So if you want me to buy your computer, expect me to use your features. Alright? Don't put the feature there if they're not to be used. So I clicked autosave. Boom. Took me back to Neil's podcast last week. And I was just like, great. So that was an hour of my life I'll never get back. I wasted Emily's time. And now I've wasted 5 minutes of your time telling you about it. And that's not my fault, okay? Don't point fingers at me. Alright, there's a multi-billion-dollar corporation who's absolutely to blame for this. Yes, they would argue, just manually save it next time. I would say, hey, Apple, suck on a pear. Because you probably hate pears, you fucking Apple dogs. So that's my story. So sorry the podcast is late, okay? That's all I'm saying. So you'll never get to hear that podcast. I forget what we talked about. We're just talking about Christmas, New Year's. I'll go over a couple of things that I talked about, but man, just every time. So you know what? I wasn't gonna do the podcast, but I was like, hey, I'm not letting the man get me down. All right, I'm gonna do a School of Rock and stick it to the man. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. This is the most punk rock podcast of all time. All right, so no one can get me down. All right, when the man tries to get you down, what do? You record another podcast, and that's how that's the start of a revolution. I don't know how the Russian Revolution went. I didn't really pay attention in history. Also studied the Chinese Revolution. Don't remember shit. But I do remember one part where Stalin logged onto iTunes and started his own podcast, and I'm pretty sure that's how the revolution went down. It was like, welcome to Soviet Russia, episode 67 of how to I don't know. I can't even like make a joke about the Russian Revolution because I know so little about it. So that's that's the end of that bit. So what I want to talk about, guys. Okay, Christmas. Haven't really caught up properly since Christmas. Hope you guys had a good Christmas. And also, shit, this is the first podcast of 2018. What a start. 8 minutes in and I'm just getting into content. Awesome. That like sums up how this year's gonna be. Just me just fucking raging at Apple again. It's just gonna be like, you know, if it's like new year, new me. No. New year, Apple still are incompetent. Okay, that's what 2018 is gonna be. New year, same technology provider. Boom. Like that's I'm a consumer, man. It's capitalism. I'm not gonna go to Windows because I've been using Macs like my whole life, so I can't. You know what I mean? Like I just can't do that to myself. I'm willing to suffer through lost podcasts, lost video files, wet computer screens that break, and I still haven't got that fixed. By the way, that's shit. Anyway, so Christmas. I hope Christmas was good for you guys. Christmas was a good year. It was Emily's first Christmas in Melbourne. Usually she goes up to Whoop Whoop in a place called Hamilton, which is like it's like 4 hours outside of Melbourne, but like 2 hours past Ballarat. So if you think like Ballarat's country, like that's where they had the gold rush, right? So that's already country. And if you live past Ballarat in Victoria, in Australia, holy shit, you've gone too far. Okay, come back. Just retreat. Like, I don't know, even if there's cell phone reception. I don't know how people live out there. Like, I don't know, maybe they, like, drive out their tractor to the telephone pole to send a fax or, like, a Morse code message. Maybe they still use carrier pigeons. I don't know. I've never been out there. Been going out with Emily for 4 years now, and have never been to the Whoop Whoop place, Hamilton. Okay, so I don't know, just no interest in seeing a paddock and going like, oh, I could have looked at that near my house, because I also live in the bush, but not that far out. So, yeah, Christmas was good. Man, everyone's been asking me, like, oh, what'd you get for Christmas? Wait, mind your own business, but, because you asked so politely, I'll tell you. Okay, so I got... What did I get? I got funky socks. I got like a shitload of funky socks. I don't know. This was the year for crazy socks. Like, I already owned some fairly funky socks. Like, I had some like Rasta weed socks from Amsterdam that my brother bought back when he went. And I've got some like Batman socks, but nothing too crazy. Oh, Donald Duck ones. I got some Mickey Mouse socks. So, you know, I was already in the funky sock game. But now I'm like balls deep, no regrets, no going back in the funky sock game. And I'm happy with that. Currently, right now, I'm wearing banana socks. They're just socks with like bananas and peeled bananas. But it's a crazy sock. And like, I already got a compliment. In the radio station, was walking down the hall. Already someone was like, hey, nice socks. And I was like, shit, feels good to be in the funky sock game. I don't know about you, but those are the little things in my day that keep me going. Like, yeah, you can get a big promotion at work, or I don't know, say if you win the $30 million jackpot. That's going to feel great. You're going to feel like you've had a great day. But those little wins throughout the day, like, hey man, nice banana socks. You're like, shit, this may be the best day of my life. Like, maybe, I don't know, it's probably not, but it may be. You know what I mean? Because it's off to a good start now that you've complimented my banana socks. So, you know what? And you know what? I kind of got banana socks out of protest to Apple. If I'd have gotten Apple socks for Christmas, like not even just the company Apple, like any type of apple, I've been boycotting eating apples, like from fruit stores, grocery stores, just because I'm like, fuck Apple. I hate the whole brand. So they've ruined apples for me. So, you know, I'm on to pears, bananas. It's almost mandarin season again, I think. So, you know, boycott apples, everyone, just for my sake. Just to spite the technology company. Sorry to the farmers who I'm ruining their business, but I don't know, have a speak to the corporation. Tell them, surely, like, how do they buy the rights to Apple? Like, that word. How do Apple own Apple TM, like, trademark? How does not some farmer out in Whoop Whoop, out in Hamilton, not own, like, the trademark Apple? I don't know, that's bullshit. That seems bullshit to me, that this technology company can just, like, take a food and be like, that's ours now. Like, if they had have called their... Like, if they had have called their company, if Apple, at the start, had have been like, nah, like, what's our technology company's name? Steve Jobs was like, let's call it lasagna. There would have been some Italian dude who was fucking pissed. Alright? I'm sure some Italian dude's like, no, lasagna was my idea. That wasn't a very good Italian accent. But, you know what I mean? I just don't get how they got the rights. What was I talking about? I was talking about bananas, socks. Alright. What I got for Christmas. Okay, so I got some funky socks, which was awesome. Because, here's the thing. I think you can tell a lot about a person by their sock game. So, especially in the corporate world. Since I've kind of entered this new realm of getting up, you know, not at midday. And people... I didn't realize how many people were up before midday. But anyway... So I'm in this new world. I'm in the city every day. I'm working. Like, technically, it's radio, but it's a job, right? And, you know, there's people walking around in suits sometimes. My brother just got a new job in the city. He works, like, up, like, 50 stories in some building. He wears a suit every day. And I was just like, man, I've entered this new corporate, you know, part of my life. And holy shit, you can tell a lot about someone by their socks. And what I mean is, you can just tell if someone's fun. Like, if someone's cool enough to pull off and wear banana socks. Here's the thing, with a suit, you can't see your socks until you're like lady leg, or you sit up slightly on a chair, or maybe if you're reaching for something like on a high cupboard, you're like, oh shit, and you get a peek of some guy's banana socks, and you're like, fuck, that guy parties on the weekend. Okay, and we've been, like, me and Lewis use this as like a measure to see if we like someone. Like, you know, we've been meeting with a few pretty big wigs of the company, you know, like, say, management companies when they approach you and stuff. You go into these big, fancy offices all the time, and, like, yeah, you're talking to some guy in a suit, and he's all impressive, but then I'm just, like, always try and get a glimpse of his socks, just to see if he's a good guy or not. Because if this guy's wearing, like, shitty navy socks that his mum bought him or his wife bought him, I don't want a fucking bar of it. Like, honestly, I will storm out. But if he's wearing, like, some palm tree bad boys... I saw a guy with, like, Alvin and the Chipmunk socks, man. Like, he was a manager, and he was trying to sign me up to his management company. And he's like, you know, do you want to sign? And I was like, man, I don't want to sign. I want to be your best friend. Okay? Those socks... What do you mean? Like, and they weren't even, like, Alvin and the Chipmunks one-socked. They were, like... You know that movie Chipwrecked? I think it was, like, the second or third. It was, like, a pun of Shipwrecked. Dude, they were Alvin and the Chipmunks 3 socks. I've never seen that level of confidence in a human in my life, okay? And my brother just got new sloth socks for Christmas. Holy shit, sloth socks. You haven't seen ankles looking that fine ever, okay? There's just like this stone sloth, like rocking on my brother's ankle. I mean, I don't think my brother's that cool, but when he puts them on, I was like, shit, son. You've lifted your whole personality. For some reason, whenever you're wearing funky socks, that's all I'm going to say, guys, is I'd recommend you get on the sock train, okay? If you got funky socks, get on the funky sock train ASAP, because people are going to start looking at you differently. You know, people always ask me on this podcast for, like, advice of, you know, how to make it in their field. Like, oh, man, I've gone into a job interview. Like, you know, what do you do? Man, sock it up, okay? Doesn't matter. Even if like little spots, man. It doesn't have to be like you don't have to go Alvin and the Chipmunks 3 Chipwreck socks. But even just get some coloured spots on there. Show them that you've got a bit of personality around your ankles. And then, trust me, people will look at you differently. I don't know if it's just me. Maybe I'm just a weirdo and I'm just like, fucking sick socks, bro. But yeah, so I got socks to Christmas. I got tickets to a magic show from Emily. That would be cool. I got heaps of other shit, man. Just like boring stuff, like money. I like it. I was like, just boring stuff. Like socks was exciting. But yeah, just like it was an awesome Christmas, good day spending with friends and family. It was very enjoyable, and spent New Year's Eve with a few friends. It was great. I actually had a week off. It was the first. Obviously, I still did shit. Like I still. Wrote, you know, and did a bit of comedy, but I didn't do any gigs, didn't do any radio, and it was the first actual break I had, which was so good. Like, so unbelievably relieving, and now I feel like I'm ready to go again. You know what I mean? Like, when you... Because I was, by the end, I was obviously loving it, but I think I was just like, shit, I just burnt myself out real hard. And actually, I still put out a video this week, the best of on my channel, but that wasn't too hard. I was just editing old shit. The point is, I had a few days off. I went up to the beach yesterday. I met a few of you guys at Phillip Island, which was really cool. I went to like Phillip Island, which is where like the penguins are in Victoria, and yeah, it was good. It was weird. Like, okay, here's the thing: when some of you guys, I meet you guys in the street or whatever, it's awesome. Like, don't hesitate to say hi. I'm not gonna bite. People like come up to you and they're like, oh, hey, like I'm gonna like turn around and just fucking knock you out. Like, what? I'm always happy to chat. So yeah, so people like a guy came up to me in the street and he was like, man, I can't believe you're here in Phillip Island. He's like, what the hell? I can't believe you're here. And I was like, oh, well, I am. Like, what do you want me to say to that? And I'm like, I just feel like people use that term way too liberally now. I can't believe you're here. Like, is it so ridiculous that I would also be at a beach place in summer with every other motherfucker who's down here? I'm like, dude, you can't even get a park at the shops. I'm not the only person here. Like, say if I was me and him were the only two in the island and he was there marooned for years, like on Lost, and then I rocked up and he also happened to have a Wi-Fi connection and listened to this podcast, right? For that 7 years, or whatever he was, and then I rocked up on that island and he was like, man, I can't believe you're here. I'd be like, yeah, that's pretty unlikely. You must be surprised. Like that, I would be like, yeah, you can't believe. But like, man, I can't believe you're at a popular beach place in the summer. Who would have thought? It's like, yeah, I also fucking, like, I like spending time with my friends and holidays. Who would have thought? But, yeah, it's always really cool to meet you guys. And it's happening a lot more these days. I got a question the other week, like, I didn't answer it because I just felt weird about it. I still don't know the answer now, but I got a question like, what's your craziest fan moment? Like, what's the craziest thing that happened? And dude, nothing. Like, that is like, whoa, I can't believe you're here. And I just think it's funny because I'm like, man, that's so believable that I would be at a beach place 2 hours away from my house. Like, it's unlikely, I guess, that it's like you happen to run into me, but like, it's not unbelievable. Like, you can't fathom the fact that I would be doing that. Like, yeah, if I had two heads, I walked up to you with two heads and four arms, you'd be like, man, I can't believe you look like a fucking spider and you've got a double head. I'd be like, yeah, I'm also struggling to wrap my head around that one. But, what was I talking about? Yeah, the craziest fan moment. I don't know. I forget who asked me the question, so I'm sorry I didn't answer it a few weeks ago. Okay, I will answer it. It was at my Sydney show. Some of you guys listening to this might have been there. It wasn't the craziest. Wasn't that crazy. There was this drunk ass lady. Oh, I put it up. If you go watch Life of Luke, right? The last episode where it's called Drunk Heckler. There's this like lady, right? And I'm not going to name her name. Everyone would have known her name. Okay, I'm going to name her name. Fuck it. Her name was Desley, right? And if you're at my Sydney show, you'd fucking know Desley. Okay, she just was yelling the whole time. She had about 6 wines, and that's all it took. She was like 30, and I was kind of like talking to her in the crowd because she was there with a few of her friends, and usually like 30-year-old people just coming by themselves. Not really in my age demographic, like at my shows. Usually, you guys are between, like, I don't know, like, this year was like 18, because I was doing lots of 18 plus venues, but like, when it was all ages, it was like 15 to like, was at the youngest, and then like, I don't know, like 25 at the oldest. That's usually my audience in that 10-year age demographic, and that's just because I'm young myself. Like, I'm 21. It's weird if I attract older people. Like, it's cool. That I think it's great when older people come. It's really cool. But I was just surprised to see like 4 30-year-old women, and I was like, oh, are they babysitting like a fucking kid? Like, have they taken their niece, or like, why are they here? And then I just worked out they were just fans of my shit, but they were super drunk. And this lady was like, Desley, she was lovely, right? Well, she meant well, but she still comments on my shit like every day. I never know if she listens to the podcast. If you do, if you listen to this, Desley, alright, I know for a fact you have a kid because you told me like 20 times in the meet and greet. Maybe turn it off and go spend a little bit of time with your kid. Alright, I'll see you at next year's show, but maybe do that. Okay, so Desley was like super drunk. This is a 30-year-old lady. She waited for ages, like an hour, to meet me in the meet and greet, because I meet everyone after my show, take photos with everyone, have a chat. And she waited till the very end, and there was this bandicoot drawing on the wall. Because like, I was performing at this venue that was like, they had a theater in like one room, and then like an art gallery out the front, and that's where I took photos, in the art gallery. So it was this huge painting of a bandicoot, and she's like, Luke, I need to get a photo with you and the bandicoot, because the bandicoot reminds me of my kid, and I couldn't bring my kid here. He's getting babysitted at the moment. I was like, well, yeah, you can't bring your fucking baby to watch me say fuck all night on stage, alright? And then she's like, anyway, we took about 20 photos. She groped me, like she was groping my tits. Just wasn't on. Just wasn't cricket, alright? She was getting real touchy-feely, and I was like, hey, I don't mind an arm around for the photo, or like oh my god, I'm so, like, some people are excited and they'll give them a hug or whatever, but like, dude, like, you're 30 and you're drunk. I think, like, I was worried she was going to vomit on me. She was absolutely lovely, and she meant well, but by the end, she had to be escorted out of the venue by her friends and by some of the venue staff, because, there was other people still waiting. So, that happened, and that's probably the craziest fan moment, because it wasn't that crazy. I was just, like, felt super uncomfortable. I don't know, I've been doing this for a year, and people are like, man, he must have been stalked by now in his hotel. No. Like, drunk 30-year-old woman like telling me about her kid who looks like a bandicoot. That is the craziest fan story I have. So that's the answer to that question to whoever sent that one in. What else do I want to talk about? There's a couple more things. Oh, okay. Rude people. Okay? Sick of rude people. I was at the beach, right? As I said, I was walking down the main street, and this lady was like, hey, do you know where Bay Street is? And I was like, nah, I don't know. I'm not from around here. Like, I'm at a beach place. Really, the likelihood that you're gonna get a local is pretty low. So she was already going in at a long shot, but I was like lovely to her. I was like, oh, sorry, I'm not actually from around here. I can't help you out. I'm not quite sure where Bay Street is. And she was like, oh, seriously? Yes, seriously. What do you mean? Like, that wasn't a great joke. Like, that wasn't a one-liner where I commented back like, I didn't even say it like that. I was like, yeah, I'm not really from around here. Of course I'm being serious. What the fuck is wrong with you? She was like, ugh, and she rolled her eyes, was like, seriously, and then she went, ugh, and walked away. What the fuck is wrong with you? I didn't do shit. I was just minding my own business and then was nothing but polite. I couldn't help you out because I'm not from around the area. And she's like, oh, you fucking idiot for not knowing where Bay Street is. You don't know that shit either. That's why you're asking me. I would have been like, I could have been fucking rude to you, and I could have been like, she could have been like, hey, excuse me, where's Bay Street? And I was like, oh, seriously? You don't know where fucking Bay Street is? That would have been rude. But then she did that shit on me. Like, that was just blatantly rude. Okay, like, there's no circumstances where that is okay to be like that to someone. Like, I should have turned around and be like, oh, I do know the way actually to Bay Street. Keep going down rude old bitch street. Take a left on You're a Fucking Waste of Space lane. And then go right on Go Fucking Die, the World Doesn't Need You Avenue. Okay? And then you'll find yourself at Bay Street. Now, fuck off. Like, that's how like, you know when you think of good as calls, like, after you walk away from a situation, that's what I do every time. Like, it happens on stage. Like, someone will heckle, and I'll do like a 7 out of 10 burn on stage, and I'll get them back, and it'll be like, yeah, burn. And then afterwards, it'll be like 1 a.m., and I'll be like, think of the best call, and I'll be like, fuck. And then I'll want to go back to the theater and just ruin the guy because I've thought of something better to say. But yeah, that I just couldn't get over that. I was like, man, that was one of the rudest things that someone has ever done to me. I'm like, yeah, she might have been in a hurry. She might have been stressed. You don't know what had happened in her day before that to get her to the point where she asks a stranger, where's Bay Street? And they don't know, but they're really polite to you. And then go, oh, seriously? Fucking hell. Oh, man. Like, I feel like these people who I come across in my life, like, she's probably already forgotten about that interaction. Like, you know what I mean? 10 seconds later, she'd probably moved on and asked someone else where's Bay Street and was rude to them. But she probably is like that all the time to people, so it wouldn't affect her. She doesn't know right now that 2 days later, I'm ranting about how rude she was on a podcast like a psychopath, alright? So, like, I just always think about that. I'm like, man, if you ever do something rude to me, you're going to cop it within the week on an audio medium on iTunes. Subscribe, and then you can hear how much of a fucking cocksucker you are. Okay. Alright, I'm going to answer some questions, and then at the end of the podcast, I want to do a Star Wars review on The Last Jedi, okay? Because I know a few of you guys are Star Wars fans, but I'm not going to do it now because obviously spoilers. I don't want to ruin the film. And that's why I've waited like 3 weeks to do this review. I want to talk about it because Star Wars is like my favorite movies. And a few people have said, like, what do you think of the film? Because I've made it aware on this podcast that Star Wars are my favorite movies. So, yeah, I'm going to be doing a review on it, but at the end of the podcast. So there'll be a point where if you haven't seen the movie yet and you want to see it and you don't want it to be spoiled for you, just turn it off, go watch the movie, and then I guess you can listen to the review if you want at another time. But first I'll answer some questions, and then I want to do the Star Wars review. So the first question is from Mac. Big Mac attack. What do your mates call you, Mac? Oh, dude, I hate Mac already because I'm looking at my Mac, which didn't save the podcast, and now I hate you by association. So, you know, he's probably works for Apple, Mac. All right, you dog. So, sorry, man. I'm just lashing out because I've had a rough week with your software. So, Max said, loving the podcast. I really missed the fun fact. So, I've got one for you. Okay. I've read this email before I started the podcast. Okay, guys. He did just say he's got a fun fact for us, but no need to strap in. Okay, no need to sit down. No need to brace yourself. No need to prepare in any way, shape, or form. Because this is one of the most run-of-the-mill fun facts you'll ever hear in your life. And I'm sorry, Mac, but I just don't think some people have still grasped the fun fact segment. Okay? Like, I don't think you've grasped, okay, answer me this, Mac, because, I'll read the fact and then I'll get Mac to kind of assess his fact and see how he went. So his fun fact that he brought to the podcast is, I said, I've got one for you. Here's the fact. 16.4 million Americans think chocolate milk comes from brown cows. Now, obviously, there was no horn there. That was a hornless fact because didn't quite have any Holocaust references. I'll ask you this, Mac. How many people died in that fact? What's that? 0? Okay, 0. How many people were severely injured or tortured? What's that? 0 again. So no references to torture, death, or the Holocaust. Okay. So already we're not looking at like a real primo fun fact. Okay. Was there any reference to slavery? No. Famine? No. No references to famine. What about human trafficking in the Middle East? No. No references to that. Right. So I'm just going over what technically there was in that fact, and it doesn't feel very fun to me, Mac. I mean, when you're not referencing Ugandan drug lords and their mistreatment of locals and, especially younger children, it just feels like it's not a very joyous fact to me. So, I don't know. Thank you very much for sending it in, Mac. Do really appreciate it, man. Can't thank you enough. I just feel like perhaps we didn't hit the mark on that one. But that's not to say that I don't want you guys sending in fun facts, okay? Because I love the correspondence and I love the effort, but just perhaps float it by your grandma or something like that before you email it to me. And if your grandma doesn't speak to you again or has a heart attack and dies from hearing the fact, send it in ASAP, okay? That's the kind of fun that we want to be having on this podcast. So that's more of a blanket rule for people from now on, or fun fact rule. So yeah, thank you very much, Mac. That wasn't the end of his email, actually, because he does have a question. Will you ever come to Tasmania, the tiny island under the mainland, for your show next year? So that explains the fun fact. Because, yeah, Tasmania. So, yeah, that explains everything. His parents are probably cousins. So you should have just sent in that as your fun fact, Mac. And look, thank you very much as well for putting in brackets the tiny island under the mainland, explaining where Tasmania in. Very helpful for a mainlander like me. So really appreciate that. And the answer is, sorry Mac, by the way, I've been shitting on you for 5 minutes. Now he's definitely not going to come, even if I do go to Tasmania. So the thing is, with my tour next year, I do want to add one extra show. I've looked at the budgets, and I think I can add one extra show to a place I didn't do last year. And those 3 shows I'm tossing up between is I'm gonna be going every single place I went to last year. So Sydney, Adelaide, Brisbane, Perth, Newcastle, and Melbourne. Right? I think, did I miss any? No, I think that's where I went last year. And then this year I want to add either Geelong in Victoria, Gold Coast, or Tasmania. Which will be Hobart, I'm guessing, because Hobart's the biggest city. So it's one of the 3, or at least I think it'll be one of the 3. Might be 2. I don't know yet at this stage. I'm not going to say anything because it's all still getting organised and the dates are still getting locked in. We've only just really started getting into contact and locking down dates in the last few weeks. So what you can do is, if you want me to come to either Gold Coast, Tasmania, or Geelong, the best way to become there is I look at my stand-up list, which is the mailing list on my website. So if you go to luke.kidgell.com, you'll see the shows section. Sign up to the cult. And really, I don't send you shit during the year, really. I occasionally send funny emails, but it's probably like, I don't think I've sent one since my tour. So, yeah, come to a time. You just let me know what city you're from. Pretty much I look at that list and I see how many people from each city want to come to a show, and I base where I'm going off that. And that's why I added a Newcastle show last year, because heaps of people from Newcastle signed up, and then I ended up doing a show and it was really good fun. So, yeah, if you want me to come to Tassie and you live in Tassie, definitely sign up to that. If you want me to come to Geelong or Gold Coast, sign up to that, and I'll probably just go to the place with the most people there signed up. So, because, you know, otherwise it just gets super unaffordable if I don't know where people are who like my shit. So the best way for you to let me know is, if you're from anywhere, by the way, whatever city, even if you're from Perth, from Adelaide, the places I go, still sign up, because it also helps me, decide how big the venue I'm going to do is. Because I might book a super small venue if I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can sell many tickets there, and then it'll sell out really quickly, and then you don't want to miss out. So yeah, if you're from there, if you're from any city or whatever, just sign up to the mailing list in the next couple of weeks, because then that's when it's getting all organised. Fuck, my eye just started killing me. Has that ever happened to you? You're just standing there and then something just starts shooting pain through your body? I feel like I'm broken. Anyway. And to finish off Mac's email, and we'll be doing some more YouTube videos soon. I really love them. Thanks heaps, man. Yes, definitely. We're filming some today, Lewis and I, at the radio station just after I finish this podcast. I dropped the best of the year, and I am hoping to start doing some reviews and trending trash and stuff again. I think I'm just going to work out a schedule and maybe try and make them. I'm not going to promise anything, because if you promise content, then people are... I already made the mistake of saying training trash is going to be every month, and then that was almost the week before we found out about the radio show, and then I was like, shit, I don't know if I'm going to be able to live up to that, and I couldn't, because we got super busy, and the first 3 months of radio was the most hectic 3 months of my life. But now that we've kind of got into a routine with it all, I have started to churn out some more videos near the end of the year, and hopefully we'll continue. Definitely will continue before my tour. So yes, there will be more videos. Keep popping on them haters and slapping those muffs. Thanks, Mac. Appreciate it. Teach those Tasmanian inbred muffs a lesson for me. This next one's from Jean. Jean. I wonder if that's a boy or a girl. I'm going to look it up. Jean, boy or girl name. I bet you it's like one of those gender neutral names, like for a unicorn. Jean is a male given name, apparently, according to Wikipedia. So either Wikipedia's sexist pigs, or this is a male. So if you're a female, Jean, don't blame me, blame Wikipedia. When you were a child, what did you want to be as an adult? This is a toughie, because I was a kid, so I wanted to be everything. But I never had like the normal kid dreams, which is like, oh, I want to be an astronaut. Like, I want to be like a doctor. I don't really know what kids think, but my dreams, my first ever job I wanted to do was work at Legoland, because I loved the Lego. And then for a bit I wanted to be a chocolate taster. Well, that's a pretty mainstream one, because I like chocolate. And then I think I just wanted to be like an AFL player. Or some shit after that, because I just played footy. And then I was like, oh, look, I'm alright. Like, I'm coming like 4th best and fairest every year, so I'm not even the best in my team. So I can't, I'm probably not going to be an AFL player. And then I started like playing in a band, or started getting really into music in high school, like about year 9, year 10. And then we started playing in a high school band. And then I was full set on being a musician. I'm like, man, we're going to tour around, we're going to be the biggest band in the world. And then obviously, as happens to every high school band, you realize that you all have better shit to do with your life. And then that's kind of when I came out of high school. I didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do, so I started doing a music business course. I was like, well, maybe if I'm not in a band, I could manage a band. And then I was like, and then I started comedy, like halfway through that year. So June out of high school, I started doing stand-up, did my first gig, and then just got absolutely hooked. And that's, I think, pretty much Well, the minute I knew I wanted to do comedy was at Nick Cody's show, which I've said before on the podcast, the first ever stand-up show I saw. But the minute, like, I knew I wanted to do it for the rest of my life was, like, I remember it was just before, I don't know, it was probably like my 4th or 5th gig, and I fucking destroyed. Like, it was the first time, well, not destroyed, but it was the first time I'd ever got, like, the laughs that I wanted. Like I wanted, because I wasn't very good, obviously, but people were genuinely like, man, this guy's really funny. And, I think it took like 5 gigs to actually get a decent laugh. And as soon as I got it, I was like, shit, this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. It wasn't like, because I wasn't like an attention-seeking thing. I just enjoyed that it made other people happy. I was like, fuck, this makes me happy. Everyone's having fun. This is so much fun. I love talking about dicks. I want to do this for the rest of my life. So, that was kind of what I wanted to be. But when I was a kid, it was like Legoland, or chocolate taster, because I was a kid. Like, that's all you want to do. Play Lego and fucking eat chocolate. Next question is from Abby. Hey, Luke. My name is Abby. Okay, thank you. I only really started watching your personal content due to my love for Luke and Lewis for lunch. Thank you very much, Abby. Glad to have you on board with this stuff. First of all, I've spent the last few weeks catching up on all the episodes of your podcast. I originally just started with the most recent one, but there were so many in-jokes I didn't understand. Sorry. I know that I feel like, this podcast is like getting to a point where it's actually really uninclusive for new people. But like super fun if you're an existing listener, if you're like an old listener, because the in-jokes keep building. So pretty much to catch everyone up quickly on in-jokes, the Fat Bird thing's done. You don't need to catch up on that. If you want to go catch up on that, listen to the live podcast, because there's a full recap at the start of that. Slapping muffs is where there's nothing to get. I think people, they hear me talking about slapping muffs, if they just listen to this podcast, like slapping a muffin, and they're like, I don't get it. There's nothing to get. If you see a muff and it looks a bit cheeky, slap the shit out of it and continue on with your day. That's it. That's the joke. I feel like people sometimes look at like the humor on this podcast and go, oh my God, it must be so in depth and it must be like a thing I'm not understanding. Like, no, it's just a bit shit. That's it. There's no other reason. There's nothing else to get, really. What's another in-joke? I don't know. I think like slapping muffins is the only one. Maybe I was talking about that and she felt unincluded. But, if you're new, that's pretty much it. You're all caught up. I'm a huge fan and I cannot wait until you come to Brisbane so I can see you live. Awesome. Thank you very much, Abby. Hope to see you there. Question number 1. She's written 4 questions, so let's bloody get to it. When are you coming to Brisbane next? Okay, it should be like June-ish, I think. I'll be coming to Brisbane. It's not, actually, I don't know. Maybe it will be like April. Anywhere between like late April and June. So it could be somewhere in May. It hasn't been locked in yet, but if you sign up to the mailing list, as I was talking about before, you'll find out first, because I send it out when I'm coming there. Now, question number 2, you always say how busy you are with writing jokes, the podcast, and now the radio. How do you make time for your girlfriend? Do you have a set time you spend together every week, like a date night? You're right. I am super busy. Not this month, because we got the month off, but of radio. But yeah, when I'm working 5 days a week, it can get a bit crazy, because I'm doing the podcast on Monday nights. I get home really late. I'm doing gigs 3 other nights a week. So pretty much, it gets really busy. So me and Emily kind of just, I guess we don't see each other as much. We probably see each other like twice a week. On the weekends, definitely like Saturday night, if we're going to a 21st, we usually go out somewhere or whatever we're doing Saturday night with friends. And then Sunday we'll spend like most of the day together. And then during the week, it's really like I might pop in and say hi like once or twice, but that's really only if each of us has time, because she works 4 or 5 days a week as well. She works really hard as well. So yeah, it's a thing where we've been going out for 4 years now, and I guess we're just both really happy for each other to get shit done during the week. You know what I mean? We're both just like, oh, you got shit to do? Go for it. I'll see you later, kind of thing. And she's super supportive. You guys, if you came to my shows this year, you probably would have met her. She was helping me do merch and stuff. You know, because like at the moment, this is still like a one kind of all me and her pretty much. It's like a 2-man operation, my business. And she's super helpful with stuff like that. And obviously like a, you know, employee artists or whatever to do my posters. But pretty much I do everything myself still. And Emily is a huge help. She's been, you know, she's almost been like my kind of like my manager, you know, like really when that's not her job at all. She's my girlfriend, but she's super helpful. So yeah, really, to answer your question, we do try, and also like maybe like once a month we'll actually go out on a date night or whatever, but like usually we're just hanging out with friends together, seeing each other on the weekends, and then yeah, once or twice during the week. But Emily's awesome, man. She's half of this shit wouldn't happen without her. Like she's been super helpful this year with organizing the shows, been contacting venues and stuff with me, and yeah, couldn't do it without her. So thank you very much, Emily. Also, my boyfriend, this is back to Abby now. Also, my boyfriend's 21st is fast approaching, and I'm so lost as to what to get him. He's a white guy who enjoys fishing, is a tradie, and his 4-wheel W is his pride and... Sorry, his 4-wheel W. His 4-wheel drive is his... She wrote 4WD, and I said 4-wheel W. What an idiot. His 4-wheel drive is his pride and joy. Any help is greatly appreciated. Geez, your boyfriend is really gunning for silver in the most basic man on the planet award. He likes fishing, is a tradie, and his 4-wheel drive is his pride and joy. Fuck me. Respect. Honestly, from what you've told me, I would say you could maybe... I guess it's hard to shout a camping trip. You could go camping away with him or getting some camping gear. He sounds like he's a pretty outdoorsy guy. You could find out a sweet fishing spot outside of Brisbane and go out and have a fish with him. I don't know, like, I guess I'm sure he'd really like that. And maybe you could buy him some like shit from like bloody, what's it called? Autobahn, or I'm not a car guy, but like one of those one of those car stores, buy him some shit for his pride and joy, his big 4-wheel drive. Maybe you should just buy stocks in Ray's Outdoors and give it to him for his birthday. That's a pretty good gift, because he sounds like he's just like, mate, I like fucking boring things. I like fishing, I like being a tradie, and I like driving and with bloody more than 2 wheels, mate. So... yeah, that would be my advice. Get him like an outdoorsy present, whether that's camping equipment or just get him fishing shit, man. Like there's fishing stores. If he likes fishing, fucking you sound like you know what to get him. Otherwise, he sounds pretty white. Get him a fucking movie voucher, man. Like, like that's the laziest shit ever. But like, if you're running out of time, yeah, Abby, movie voucher that shit. Alright, question number 4 is, what did you get Emily / what did Emily get you for your 21st? Spoke about what Emily got me a few weeks ago. She got me I got her. I spoke about what I got Emily a few weeks ago. I got her a helicopter ride, which was really fun. And that was a bit fancy of us. So we went in a helicopter. That was cool. Just doing something different, because she'd never been in a helicopter before. So I'd been like once on like a school like thing in like year 10 in like Kings Canyon in Central Australia. I did it once, but I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool. Helicopter, you don't do that every day. What did she get me? She got me paintball for me and my friends, which I still haven't used it, a paintball voucher. So I'm going to go do some paintball soon. Yeah, so that's... And obviously we get each other a bunch of... She got me 21 gifts for my 21st birthday. And the main one was paintball. But man, she got me heaps of shit, actually. So, you know, thank God I bought her a helicopter ride. Or I would have been like... It's so shit when... So, like, it was awesome that she spent that much money and time putting my present together. But it put me under so much pressure. 6 months later, when her birthday came around, I was like, shit, son. I don't know, I'm going to have to really deliver the goods. And thank God I came out with the helicopter ride, or I would have been fucked. I would have looked like a dickhead. she would have been like, yeah, mate, I got you paintball for like 5 of your mates and 20 other gifts. All right, spent hundreds of dollars on your birthday, and you're like, thanks though for this scented candle, you dick. Like, I don't know. But yeah, so I forget, I got her other shit, I don't know. And we just did Christmas as well, like 3 months after her birthday, so it's crazy. Like, whenever, like, at the end of the year with gifts for Emily, man, it's so much pressure. I suck at giving gifts. I'm the worst. I'm just so shit. Like, I walk through, like, Target for hours on end, just fucking stumbling my way through. Just go, I don't know, would she like that? Nah, probably not. Shit. And then you're like, and you realize you're in Target, and you're like, there's nothing good here. So you walk out, and you're like, I don't even know where to start. I don't know. I'm just shit. You know what? I think I just hate giving shit to people. I like receiving. If you're one of those people who's like, I like the gift of giving. I like giving gifts more than I like receiving gifts. You're a fucking liar. Okay? What's wrong with you? And yeah, I think, is that the end of her email? Alright, the last bit of Abby's email. As I recently listened to all your content, there was an episode where I got lost in because of the way you pronounce counselor. Like it was almost as if you were saying cancer-lur. Anyway, no hate, just stating an observation. Yeah, I'm a bogan, Abby, alright? I can't believe you didn't say cancelor. Okay? You're from Brisbane. Everyone... I think that's actually a job, a cancer counsellor, where you cancel people who have cancer, but they don't call it a canceller, because that would be a bit insensitive. Sorry for saying cancer in places where I shouldn't. Also, another side note, I can relate to the whole home brand of people. I'm also very bland with most of my food, interests, / thoughts. And your boyfriend. Your boyfriend's bland as shit, Abby. He likes fishing, he's a tradie, and his four-wheel drive is his pride and joy. That's not far off my Subway order, okay? Anyway, keep up the good work. Look forward to seeing you live soon, Abby. Thanks very much, Abby. Hope to see you there. We're running out of time, so that's the end of the questions. I'm going to do a brief Star Wars review for the next 5 minutes. So if you haven't seen the new Star Wars film, The Last Jedi, and don't want it spoiled for you, tune out now. That's the end of the podcast for you guys, okay? Tune out in 3, 2, 1. Luke Skywalker dies. Alright. If you couldn't hit pause quick enough, I don't know. That's on you. That's on you, okay? So, and also, Rey's parents are nobody. So, fuck ya. We actually on our radio show, we sent out spoilers to some dude in the mail because he hadn't seen the movie yet. How fucking rude. I wonder if he got them. I don't think we ever heard back from that one. So the Star Wars movie, right? I went and saw it at the midnight screening when it came out on like the 15th or the 14th or whatever it was. Because it was the day, I remember it was the night before Reese Maston came into our radio show. So I was so tired the next day. I had like 3 hours sleep, but I was still like pumped up because it was Star Wars. So I went anyway to the midnight, got home at like 4 and then had to get up at like 7. But yeah, it was sick. It was a good film, would recommend out of 10, but there was heaps of problems with it, right? So I'm not going to pump it up. Oh, hang on. Lewis is calling me. Let's put him on speaker. Hello?
Hey, man, where you at?
I'm in the studio, finishing off the podcast. Come down, I'm doing a Star Wars review.
Oh, sick. I'll come in. I'll trash that later scene.
Trash? Oh, I was just about to start trashing the Leia scene. I'll wait.
Oh, hold up until I get there.
Cool. I look forward to you. All right, so Lewis is going to be joining us, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to hang up now. See you soon.
I'll be there in a sec.
So yeah, Lewis and I were going to film videos, so he's just arrived. But yeah, Lewis can come in and start trashing this shit soon, too. Okay, so I'll save Princess Leia flying for when Lewis gets here. Okay, Kylo Ren. He looked like a fucking big rig, didn't he? He copped shit in the last one because everyone was like, man, he's such a pussy. He's like, because he did. He looked super skinny in the last film. But now, when he took his bloody shirt off and he's wearing his bloody high-waisted pants, he looked like the biggest fucking sick dog ever. So, credit to Adam Driver. He beefed up. That would have taken ages of weights in the film to get to that big. And also, no gravity in space.
Since when?
What?
The fucking Force...
Oh, wait, come over. Lewis is here.
Tell me when the fucking Force can make you survive a rocket from a spaceship
Yes.
and freezing in space and then make you fly into a fucking spaceship when she's not a Jedi?
Han Solo said that shit. He's like, that's not how the Force works.
No! Luke Skywalker would have seen that shit and cum his pants. He would have been really jealous.
Yes. Luke Skywalker, who was a Jedi Master. Yoda never did that shit.
No! He struggled to lift an X-Wing in a swamp. He wasn't even in space. Dude, they had the perfect opportunity to kill Leia in a respectful way.
You know what?
Now there's going to be CGI Leia saying some fucking bullshit in movie 3 because they only got through a third of the filming before she overdosed on whatever she took.
Nah, okay, two things. They're definitely going to kill her from the credits next time. Because they can't bring her back in. That's disrespectful as fuck. And the second thing was...
They had the opportunity.
I know. It was so disrespectful because... For a bit, you went in the cinema, because everybody knows Carrie Fisher's dead in real life, right? She passed away after the filming of the movie, but between its release, right? I just fucked up some shit on the computer.
Dude, if the Force was that powerful, it would have moved from the Star Wars universe and saved her real life.
Yeah. But yeah, it was disrespectful because as a viewer in the film...
They tricked me.
Yeah, you go, oh, this is how she dies, and she was floating
and
through
it was
space.
Beautiful.
It was like, oh man, she died like a champ. She fought till the end,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden her fingers just start wiggling.
Superman.
And then she just Mary Poppins her way back to the fucking spaceship, which, by the way, should have been blown up because. Okay, the rebels always blow the fuck out of their ships.
No shit, they blew up the control center. That'd be like taking the steering wheel out of a car.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, but it still works though, I'm in the trunk now.
Yeah, and also, the whole film was literally just the most... Because I watched it the second time, right? The first time, I had a few problems with it, but the second time, I realised the whole film is just a chase between the bad guys and the good guys who are going exactly the same speed.
Yeah.
And then the end, they escape and they go to... It should have started on the salt planet, Crate, at the end.
Yeah, the more I think about it,
it should have been
the lamer the entire story is.
So this is how the movie should have gone. In the credits, it should have been like, the rebels managed to escape a convoy fleet of the Thingos, and they managed to escape to the planet Crate. And then it should start on the salt planet. Because the whole film could have been explained in a sentence.
Also, why the fuck
did they go to the casino planet?
Yeah, that was just an unnecessary storyline. And
that's to give Finn something to do.
And if they spent so much time on trying to, enforce equality and have, a general equality for all the sexes, and then right at the end, they enforced an incredibly negative stereotype by making the Asian woman cause a massive car crash.
Yes, she couldn't drive, and she was a woman.
Yeah.
And she was, that was
offended.
No, that was one of the only spot-on bits of the film. I was like, Asian,
of course,
yeah, Asian woman crashes. Thank fuck, something is not okay. Another thing, no gravity in space. All right, and they were dropping bombs.
Yeah. That doesn't make sense, does it?
Well, okay, there's also no oxygen in space, and for years there's been explosions happening in Star Wars, but ignore that. But there's more the bit where, at the start, Rose's brother, or whatever, sister, not brother, she kind of looked like a dude, my bad. She was kicking this control to make all the bombs go off. It was the last bomber ship.
No shit.
It was in the first scene, where the bombers go...
No, but there is gravity on the ship.
No, but...
Isn't there?
No, because she was technically in space. I don't even know how she was breathing.
Oh yeah,
because
the bottom
of the ship was open.
Oh, so you should have her eyeball sucked out of her head.
Yes.
Hey, maybe she was a Force user too.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's how this movie works.
Yeah.
Everyone uses the Force,
and
space isn't real.
Yeah. And it's called Star Wars. It's like at least direct the movie in the dimensions and settings of physics and stars.
Also, not many stars.
Yeah, real lack of stars in this one, guys. Lots of war. Maybe that's what I'm saying. Maybe could have put a few more stars in there. And what else? Okay, rated the Porgs. What did you think?
The Porgs were literally only
to sell toys.
To sell toys.
Yeah.
That was the only reason they were there. They added nothing, and it fucking worked.
Yeah.
I saw so many tweets. Oh, I want a Porg. It's like, no, you don't. You really want a Porg? You really want a fucking penguin-seal hybrid?
Yeah, it's a glorified teddy bear.
How are you going to look after that? You're going to be sucking on alien milk titties to feed it?
That was stupid. When Luke
that was the only scene I liked.
No, the bit where Ray chops the fucking rock off the cliff when she's training on Luke's island, and then the rock plows through those little aliens' cart. Because the first time I found that super funny,
Yeah.
and then the second time in the movie I knew it was coming, I was the guy losing my shit. I was with one of my mates who was like, "Shut the fuck up."
It was hilarious.
I was crying.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why that's funny. That's the thing. So
I didn't think you were going to bring this onto your podcast. Turn it off.
Turn it up. So what happened right the other day, we were discussing this scene in the office with our radio Mike, who works in our radio show. And Mike was like, "Why is that funny?" And I was like, and no, actually Mike said that. I was like, "Why is it funny?" And Mike's like, "You know what? I'll tell you why." 15 minutes later, he explains why that scene is funny, because it's actually, guys, if you didn't know, it's a callback to the first scene.
Is that still on our whiteboard?
Yeah, it is.
You should post a photo in the podcast.
Yeah, I
It
should.
turned into a 15-minute explanation
Oh, no.
with a diagram.
No, I don't think that one's still on our diagram. The current diagram that's on our whiteboard at the radio station is why it's cool when Han Solo returns in The Force Awakens.
But I didn't use words. I explained that with hieroglyphics.
Yes, if you want to know,
plan our show.
if you want to know why it's cool when Han Solo returns in The Force Awakens, I'll take a photo of Lewis's pictogram. It's very hard to follow because it also needs an explanation on it. But yeah, the reason why it was funny when Rey's rock went through the car was because first
we've had this conversation 30 times.
She shot. I'm telling the
15
people. She shot a blaster through the Jedi Temple wall, and they were pretty mad at her. So it was a bit of a callback.
You know what this whole franchise's problem is, and I don't know why the fuck they decided to do this. They've got a different director for every movie.
Yeah. Oh no, aren't they going back to J.J. Abrams?
I don't know.
I heard
the original plan was one director for each film.
Yeah, and that's why they. Because the other director didn't like the character Snoke.
Yeah, so he just kills him in
chopped him in
seconds.
half.
That was so disappointing.
Yeah, and also it was disappointing finding out Rey's... Oh, I like that, actually, that Rey's parents were no one. But other people were disappointed.
You know what's funny? I reckon if JJ comes back, he's going to be like, that Snoke was a clone. You can't, how dare you kill my favourite character. I spent so much time setting him up to be evil.
Yeah, because everyone was like, oh shit, who is this guy? He's like a mysterious hologram.
No one.
Yeah. I thought it was like, oh, maybe it's Darth Maul and he got put in the dryer and shrunk. Or something like that.
The dumbest shit I saw was all of these people trying to figure out if Snoke was actually giant or if it was just a big hologram.
Yeah. And then in the...
Could you imagine a giant Snoke?
No, I knew he was going to be tiny.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And then he was just regular size. He had a shit head, and then he died. And what else was there? That's pretty much it. Oh, and the Kylo and Rey fight was actually good. That was it.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was awesome. The rest of it was just like cool. The funniest part about the film was 2 days after Lewis saw it, he comes in to the office and goes, "Man, how good was Brad Pitt's cameo?" And then I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, the Codebreaker guy, or from the casino."
Dude, he looks like Brad Pitt. I thought he was Brad Pitt for the whole movie. I was like, cool, they got Brad Pitt in Star Wars.
Yeah,
that's a career moment.
He had a weird stutter, and he was just some like Russian alcoholic. And
I thought Brad Pitt stepped up his acting. It was like a biddy biddy boop bop. Hello.
No, and then I was like, and then. You
argued like Brad Pitt.
You argued it for a bit. Like, you thought that for 2 days, and I was like, it wasn't Brad Pitt. You Googled it, and it's not Brad Pitt. And the actor looks nothing like Brad Pitt.
Well, the character did.
That was a bit. I got what you meant. And I told other people that, and they were just like, no, he didn't look anything like Brad Pitt.
Whatever.
And, that's the review, guys, of The Last Jedi.
Oh, best scene. Funniest scene. I pissed myself. I actually laughed. When you were laughing at least you laughed at like a bit that was supposed to be funny. I pissed myself when Kylo Ren took his shirt off.
Oh yeah, we already talked about that.
Fucking rig, he looks like a fridge.
Well, he does look like a fridge, but that's because he copped so much shit in the last film for looking like a pussy.
Yeah,
he was skinny as in the last one, and then Adam Driver did some serious work.
I think it works better that he's a pussy because that was his whole character of trying to be Darth Vader, but he's not. Yeah,
now he's like a soft cock fridge.
Yeah, now he's like fucking Darth Celsius.
And that's the end of the podcast, guys.
He's fucking funny.
And his high-waisted pants. He was wearing like mum pants, like mum exercise pants from the 90s.
Oh fuck!
Like he was in like a fucking, you know those like, you know what he looked like? You know, like if you used to wake up before Cheese TV at 5:30 a.m., the aerobics was still on.
Yeah.
And they're like doing it at like Miami Beach.
Fucking imagine being made fun of so much that you hit the gym so hard that people laugh at you even more. In the third movie, he's gonna come back and he'll be fucking obese.
He'll be like, or he'll be
I
like,
deserve it now.
or he'll be like anorexic because he would just lose all confidence. Cool. All right, that's my. That's the Star Wars review. That's the end of the podcast. I'll see you next week.